Hello everyone. Welcome to the third edition of UNCHAIN Fintech Festival Demo Days, where mainly this is a tour we are planning before the big event in June, in the 19th and 20th of June in Oradea, mainly for a better engagement with the ecosystem of fintech startups, investors, for the main purpose to create a network for business and growth. So some information about UNCHAIN. It's mainly described as the Davos of CEE, where it unites all fintechs in the Central and Eastern Europe, from regulatory authorities, central banks, fintech association, investors, and startups. You definitely can find them all in Oradea in the 19th and 20th of June. For 2 days this summer, Oradea will be once more the ground zero for innovation in the financial services. It's gonna take place in the city's old and picturesque medieval fortress, and the event puts the CE at the heart of the international map of fintech innovation. Just as global challenges need local solutions, the CE and global fintech community is coming together in Oradea to turn the digital into the personal, meaning that the goal of this kind of collaboration is to make the digital advancements more accessible and relevant to individuals of everyday's lives. Moving forward, we're going to present now the investors that are here and will help us give feedback to the startups that will pitch. And the first investor that we'll have is Maximilian Schausberger. And he is the managing director of Elevator Ventures, the venture capital manager of Raiffeisen Bank International, an entity that manages funds of 100 plus million euros to elevate the growth of technology companies in fintechs and beyond banking. They believe that the power of tech shifts that allow high growth technology companies to transform industries and to drive customer value that are looking back for outstanding companies in the fintech and beyond banking in the DACH and CE region. Welcome, Maximilian. We are glad that you are here to provide the value.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Adrian. Couldn't have introduced me and Elevator Ventures better.
Thank you. Moving forward, we'll have Andrej Petrus from Zaka, from Czech Republic. And Andras is the Chief Investment Officer at Zaka Vizsy, a pre-seed and seed VC fund that's investing in tech startups, mainly in US, UK, Baltic region, and CE. It's founded by 2 entrepreneurs, and Zaka is backing ideas for the future with years of experience. They have invested in 53 companies, 30 million of private money dedicated, and they have invested in 23 countries and had, to the current day, 2 exits. Welcome, Andrej. Very glad that you're on board with us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Adam Gartai from OXO Holdings from Hungary. And Adam is the investment manager at OXO Holdings, a leading investment firm of the tech sector in the European region. It includes a network of business angels as well as various financial and strategic investors as equity partners. Their investment policy mainly targets the funding, partial or full buyout of early stage tech ventures, accelerate the growth and market expansion, and also prepare them from subsequent funding rounds and exits. Very glad that you're here, Adam.
Thank you for the intro. Happy to be here.
Great. And the last investor that we'll have here is Jordan Bocskov from Fiddler Capital from Hungary. And he's partner at Fiddler Capital, a fund that loves backing founders who are raw, smart, self-taught, and obsessed about what they are building. Fiddler Capital invests in pre-venture, leading or co-leading pre-seeds and early seed deals. They are sector agnostic as long as they have a strong affinity for the product, the market, or the cause. Mainly their tickets range between 50 and 750K. Very glad that you're here, Jordan.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Great intro, indeed.
Great. Moving forward now, we're going to have the startups. We're going to present the startups that had the courage to be here today and pitch. Mainly, what's going to happen is that the startups will pitch, and one of them will be the winner, the most appreciated startup. We have the chance to be fast-tracked at the startup tournament at UNCHAIN that will happen on the 19th and 20th of June. So the first startup that we'll have, that we're going to have today is Hype from Poland. And we have here Jan Bartik and Szymon Milas. And they are the founders of Hype, which is a platform that allows creators to crowdfund games and films via tokenization. You can imagine if George Lucas asked you to invest 100 euros in Star Wars and you are invited to a community of like-minded people, you will take the creative decision during this kind of production. This is what Hype creates, this kind of value. We are glad, Jan and Szymon, that you're here with us. Moving forward, we'll have Tibor Zavadil from Digfin from Slovakia. And Tibor is the founder of Digfin, and they have developed a digital platform that provides a breakthrough solution in the field of financial products. Their solution is highly configurable and able to respond flexibility to changes in the market condition. Mainly, their goal is to digitize mortgages and bring modern perspective in this area. Glad that you're here, Tibor. Moving forward with the third startup, we have here Juraj Kralik, the founder of Widen from Czech Republic. And along with his team, they want to finish the financial gap in the digital SMEs and widen their growth possibilities. What do they mean by that? Mainly, there's a huge untapped potential in the digital SME market. Companies that are asset light in a growth stage or just becoming profitable and are still misunderstood or even disqualified by a wider financial infrastructure. And to help those companies grow, they have built a proprietary system to assess their business situation to make them more readable and well understood. They're a predictive credit risk and lending platform where they assess, finance, and monitor digital companies to help them build lasting businesses. Very glad that you're here, Juraj. And moving forward now, we'll have Andras Vizsy from Bookkeepy from Hungary. And he's the founder of Bookkeepy, a startup that where someone can search for an accountant, payroll accountant, tax consultant, auditor, or accountant, and can find the most suitable professional-based solution for their specified criteria. They take the administrative burden off their shoulders, so you can really deal with what you really know. Very glad that you're here, Andras. Daniel Tesch is the next startup founder, the founder of Mion from Austria, and he and his team want to make Bitcoin payments more easy with normal conversion rates and no hidden fees. Mainly, their mission is to make Bitcoin usable as an alternative payment method in the real world. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us today. The next startup is Clever Claim, and we have Ignacy and Denis from Poland. They are the founders of Clever Claim, a startup that's making claim management easier, faster, and more efficient. It's a platform that will take care of the passengers and guide them from start to finish through the difficult process of collecting compensation from carriers who have not fulfilled their contract. This is the Clever Claim. Yes, and these were the startups that we're going to pitch today, and also the investors that have joined us today. And the next step will be mainly to start with the first startup that's going to pitch. The whole event will take 1.5 hours. And every startup will have 5 minutes of pitching and 5 minutes of Q&A. We kindly ask for the investors to not forget about the voting process. My colleagues will send the voting form in the chat. Only the investors will have the possibility to vote. So I can't ask startups to not try to vote because their replies won't be taken in consideration. So starting with the first startup that's going to pitch, we have here Jan, the founder of Hype from Poland. And Jan, whenever you're ready, you can start sharing the pitch and you'll have 5 minutes of pitching.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
including my screen. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm ready. Hi, everyone. I'm Jan. I'm a co-founder of Hype, a platform that allows games and films creators to get community funded. So why are we creating that? The industry and the entertainment industry is booming right now. There's never been more games and films created than now. And when you nail your production, even a single creator can earn more money than Ubisoft. But getting there is extremely difficult, and it's going to be more and more difficult. Why? Because funding on average can take up to 5 years for a small studio, and very often they lose an ownership either of the company or the IP. So you're like creator of the Star Wars, but you don't own it anymore. And whatever you raise, you waste, because paid marketing is getting extremely expensive, and you will never be able to compete with Netflix or Ubisoft. But there is a solution to that. We've talked to hundreds of fans and creators, and we see then on average an indie studio, and when I say indie studio, I often say about stock listed studios up to 40, 50 people, they have around 20,000 active fans. And these fans really want to be more than just fans. They want to help with fundraising, and they want to help with promotion of their love projects, but there's no right tool to do it. That's why we've created Hype. This is a platform that allows you to get community funded. So when you're a fan and you open our platform and you find a project that you like, it's as if George Lucas came to you and said, hey, you can help me create this new project I'm doing, Star Wars. Invest whatever you have, 10 euros, 100 euros, 1,000, and I'll share the profits from everything that the brand will generate. So whatever we create, games, films, pajamas, you name it, over the years of developing this project together, and by together, I mean you have some impact on the creative decisions. So unlike other star platforms, we allow fans to see the real progress, the projects they're invested in, and also have impact on them. So your investment allows you to decide, I want the Death Star to be black or gray, the lightsaber to be red or blue. And by doing that, we effectively create organic marketing because the fans start talking online. So the holy grail of marketing is delivered for free with us. We already see that this is really needed in the market. We've signed more than 15 partnerships with stock listed studios, including such studios as Platys Images, which is the creator of The Witcher for Netflix, a global hit. We have now 3 games ready to launch on our platform. The producers of these games have already sold more than 2 million copies worldwide, have massive following, over 100,000 people altogether. And the problem is so dire, they are already paying us to get on our platform a flat fee of $2,500. Because of their following, the first we are taking is focus on the existing audiences, on the existing community. And we already see the effect. Just from putting the post on Discord, we have around 50% of conversion to the waitlist with the declared investment of around $200. And we see more potential and interest even in the gaming media and the gaming influencer, which will help us amplify these projects, launch our MVP, and then we'll follow up to the global launch in collaboration with such brands as PlayStation. Yes, we are in conversations with them, and we know that the time is right because the entertainment market will not stop growing. We want more content, people consume it, and those creators who nail community marketing, they earn a lot of money. Like that guy, creator of Manor Lords, that's a game created by a single developer with constant Twitter votings. He earned within a month more than $75 million on that game. That's more than some of the Ubisoft games. And the new improvements in blockchain allow us to do this process of funding in a matter of few clicks. And this is what the people want. The young audiences, the new people that are investing their money, they're investing out of boredom in stuff like Tesla and Revolut. They want it easy and really want to get more involved in things they're passionate about. So we are a team of 3 founders. Me and Szymon, we've known each other since high school. We've done many projects together. We are both filmmakers with very, very thorough network in the industry entertainment in Poland. I'm also a marketeer. I led global campaigns for Netflix. Szymon is a Web3 investor. And Clara is our CTO, a full-stack developer, a blockchain developer, and a long-term friend. We have 2 angels, Jarek Sawko, who is the executive producer of The Witcher and the major owner of Platys Images, and Gustav, who is the owner of the top digital marketing agency in Poland. We are now raising 500K for the launch of our MVP, and we have 2 VC spots left. So if you want to join the hype and the fun, then this is where you can find me. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jan. Very nice last proposition. If you want to join the hype, very creative. Okay, very on time as well. So 5 minutes of perspectives Q&A from the investors, please.
Okay, my question would be so that you could please elaborate on the competition a little bit.
So the main competition that people can think of is Kickstarter. And we like to say that we start where Kickstarter ends. Because on other crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, what you can do is you can buy a license of a game that is already in development. So you can't really be effectively involved in the creative process. You can't invest in a brand. This is actually banned by Kickstarter. And what you get from them, from Kickstarter, is like you get the mail notification every half a year of like, hey guys, this is what we have been doing. This is boring. Who reads mails? So we allow the crowdfunding to take the next step in a way Kickstarter can't do it and maximizes the fan engagement. Other competitors are Web3 launchpads, and trust me, gaming industry, Web2 gaming industry, the people that produce the games that are on Steam, they want to have nothing to do with Web3 launchpads. That's why we are doing a platform that allows them to fundraise with the use of blockchain, but not in a closed ecosystem. And there's also equity crowdfunding, which is a long and difficult process that also requires the equity of your company. This is not what the gaming studios want. So these are our top 3 competitor categories that we have.
Cool, thanks.
Question from my end. So if I understood it correctly, you are selling equity to the of the project. So 2 questions there, if that's correct. First, what is the regulatory framework? If you need to do some KYC, if these need to be qualified investors, or it can be retail as well. Yeah, and the second is that you mentioned you are in talks with some publicly traded companies or larger companies. If they have several projects within one holding company, how can you raise based only on a single project and not selling equity to the whole one?
So to start off with, we are not selling equity. What we offer is revenue share from the license. So it's very, very simple for them to do it, and for us to do it both legally and financially with regulatory, because it's not stock shares. It's the license of the brand. So you're co-owning the name Star Wars, and this is the intellectual property that belongs to the company. When it comes to regulations, MiCA is coming in, and we have already done extensive legal work to see how we adapt to the changing world of crowdfunding and crypto industry. And because we are focused on single projects, what we do is a governance token. It's not considered a financial instrument. It's not considered an equity token. So our way of executing on it is much, much simpler and less costful. So the other question you asked was about how you separate that. This is a standard practice in the gaming industry. Whenever you finance a game, it's sort of as under a separate deal with the publisher, for instance, that finance it. Sometimes they do a special SVPs as a separate company, but it's not really needed. It's very easy to see, as they're stock listed companies, what revenue streams they get and what expenses they get for a single title. Because like Steam, for instance, Steam data is available publicly. You can see how many games were sold.
I have a question, maybe on the technical development of generative AI, right? There's a lot of discussions around how this in the future will actually change how movies are produced and how games are produced, and how this will decrease costs of producing these movies. Do you see that as a challenge or as an opportunity?
Oh, we have to schedule a coffee chat for that, because I can talk for hours on that. In general, the more we get into the AI zone, the more human interactions people actually need. So we already see that in the existing communities, people don't like interacting with AI. They want to know that there is a human being on the other side. So there won't be a tremendous change in the way films are made when it comes to creative part. Definitely AI will really help, and is already helping with the production part, which is a great opportunity for us, because that way we can cut costs of the productions, and the indie studios can go global more effectively. But it's not a threat for us, it's an opportunity. Plus, we also want to utilize the power of AI, because in our roadmap, we have an engagement mechanism that we want to launch, which essentially rewards the most involved fans based on their online activity. And for that, we'll use AI.
Thank you, John. Unfortunately, we gotta move forward. In order to keep the time for every startup that we have, we gotta advance. Thank the investors for the questions that have put to John. Next startup is Digfin, and we have here Tibor Zavadil from Slovakia. Tibor, whenever you're ready, please start pitching. I remember the investors to don't forget to vote. Tibor?
Okay, and I guess you can see me, hear me, and see my screen as well. So
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So hello, I'm Tibor. I'm a founder of a fintech startup called Digfin, which is an acronym for digital finance. So as you might guess, we are digitalizing financial products. And we started with mortgages because mortgages still function in old-fashioned way, mainly via personal meetings and paper documents. So our mission is to really make mortgages digital, make them available to everyone, even to low-income people in remote areas, because based on the empirical research I've done at National Bank of Slovakia, mortgage is the only type of debt that increases household net wealth. We also want to contribute to digital transformation of financial sector and to carbon neutral economy. So our product has positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And who are our customers? First, the home buyers who need to buy a house, but they don't know where to get the mortgage, so they can compare on our platform all the mortgage from our banks and apply immediately online. They will save time and money. Second are brokers who need to sell mortgages, but they must meet currently clients in person and fill out many paper forms. So thanks to our platform, they can sell mortgages remotely by using digital documents, and it will boost their productivity. And the third element of the mortgage market are banks who need to grow in the market, but their bank branches capacity is very limited. So we create a new distributional channel for them that allows distribution of mortgages online, and it at the end increases their profit. So I will now introduce all three platforms. The first one is B2C for home buyers who just insert the mortgage parameters via their mobile phone. They immediately get tailor-made offers from all banks. They can choose the best offers and apply immediately online, easily, anytime from anywhere. Then brokers, they can serve all their clients remotely by following all strict regulatory requirements, respecting best methodology, and this will increase their productivity at least 10 times because they don't need to travel, they don't need to handle paper documents, they do everything digitally. The last platform is for banks. As I mentioned, we create a new distribution channel for banks, which allows them to distribute mortgages online to wide scope of people, even people from the regions that are not covered by the bank benches. So they save operational costs by processing everything digitally, gain new customers, and increase profit. Huge market opportunity is huge. Only in a small country, Slovakia, the amount of new mortgages was 2 years ago 20 billion euros, which is the opportunity for brokers, roughly 1%, around 200 million euros. And based on Boston Consulting Group study, 6% of mortgage seekers prefer self-service experience. And this is our target group, we can reach up to 1 million monthly revenue only in Slovakia. If we expand, it can be a huge multiple of that amount. And we did some research about competitors. We are the only one digital mortgage provider in Central Europe. There are two other providers in European Union, operating in Western EU and FinSolution, Portugal and Spain, but none of them covers all three elements of the mortgage market: home buyers, brokers, and banks. None of them allows 100% online application process. They need to meet their clients at some point. None of them deals with methodology of banks, and none of them has their solution approved by EU regulator. We spent 1 year in the regulatory sandbox of National Bank of Slovakia. We are a strong team of 4 founders, each of us over 25 years of experience. Me, myself, I hold full masters and a PhD. I used to work as an economist and data scientist. My main co-founder used to be an owner of banking software company, and he successfully exited. And these are 2 of his former colleagues, currently co-founders who have lots of experience with building financial products for banks. And we have a strong team of 5 employees, contractors, and even 2 advisors. We exhibited fast traction over the last 2 years. Our startup was founded 2 years ago. The same year we started launch our MVP that we tested and improved. Then we finally reached some first paying customers, which allow us to raise seed investment. And this year we are launching the 2 platforms that I mentioned. We are currently accelerating sales of digital mortgages, contracting new brokers, integrating with first banks, collaborating with first software providers, and expanding to Czechia and exploring other countries as well. And we financed the first 1.5 years out of our own pocket, then raised 600K to strengthen our team and develop our platforms and boost marketing. And currently we are raising 1 million euros to become market leader and expand to other countries in the region.
One last proposition, Tibor. Okay, great. The final slide.
That's the final slide.
Thanks, Tibor. I now invite the investors to join for the Q&A session. Maybe Adam, maybe you have started with the first question.
Yeah, thank you. So first and foremost, thank you for the presentation. I would have one question regarding the pricing. So you introduced us 3 different revenue models, and I'm curious about how would you price those ones, whether some of them are freemium or premium model.
So for B2C platform, it's free for our customers, mortgage seekers, because we get provision from banks. So we have a team of our mortgage specialists who process these digital applications and process them in banks, and banks pay us a provision, and we share with our mortgage specialists. So this is the B2C platform is paid by provisions from banks. B2B platforms will be paid by provisions or fees, monthly fees from the brokers. And we will launch it in autumn, and we already have a couple of broker companies interested in using it. So there will be monthly fee, then fee per transaction, and then small portion of their provision, because we will save them so much time that they are willing to give us 5 to 10% of their provision because of huge increase in productivity. And the third third platform for banks, B2C2B, will be based either on one lump payment by bank starting at 100,000 because this is usual standard fee that banks pay, plus some service maintenance fee, or we offer it for free to banks and have some small portion of the volume of mortgages that will go through our system. And we discussed with banks some number around 0.05%, and banks seem to be perfectly fine with that number, but it will mean hundreds of thousands of euros income only in Slovakia.
Okay, thank you.
A different question, maybe Andrej, maybe you'll have a question for Tibor.
Yeah. So Tibor, what's the current traction? How many customers did you serve? And what is the customer acquisition cost approximately?
So currently we launch a marketing campaign to acquire home buyers. We are present at Google Ads platform, and we have thousands of visitors of our webpage each month. There are hundreds of them leave us their contact details. These are leads that we are processing, and we have tens of processing mortgages and our sales funnel. So we started on 2 months ago. Last month we sold the first mortgage, and we expect to start growing exponentially because we are also able to contract external mortgage specialists and even scale further our collection of leads. So this B2C segment. What concerns B2B, we talk with the top 10 broker companies in Slovakia. All of them are interested in connecting to our platform. Some of them are even interested to help us building this platform. So we are contracting them in the pilot where they are providing us with consulting services. And in autumn, we start to sell this platform commercially. And the last segment are banks. So we talk to all banks. There are actually 8 banks in Slovakia that sell mortgages. And we are discussing with 3 largest ones about integration. We are already integrated with the largest bank, Slovenská sporiteľňa, is the part of Erste Group. We are launching our collaboration with Tatra Banka, a part of Raiffeisen International Group. And we are also discussing with the Čezo Czechoslovak Bank, part of KBC Group, because we are in this accelerated Czech Republic that I already mentioned. And we also find new partnerships in Czech Republic. So we certainly have traction, and we believe to gain some B2B income, not only B2C income, but also B2B income very soon. By the end of year, certainly it will amount in thousands of euros.
Tibor, really appreciate your replies, appreciate the investor's question. We got to move forward in order to be in time for everyone. And the next startup that we'll pitch is Widen, and we have Juraj Kralik from Czech Republic that we'll invite on stage. We pitch the Widen startup. So Juraj, you have 5 minutes of pitching and 5 minutes of Q&A. I remind investors to don't forget to vote the startups that previously pitched. Whenever you're ready, Juraj.
Absolutely. So if anybody can hear me and see me, I'm happy to start. Hi, everybody. My name is Juraj Kralik, and I'm here representing as a co-founder of Widen. We in Widen, we believe in better understanding of digital companies. Now, what do we mean by that? There is still huge untapped potential of digital companies, SMEs, that are hard to understand from their financial partners because they are asset light, but they still want to grow, but they have no risk profile. Now, why is it so? They are small, they are young, it's very hard for them to get financial rating, and sometimes their accounting is really hard to access. All of this makes that companies misunderstood and sometimes even disqualified by wider financial infrastructure. We are here to change that. How do we do this? We've built a proprietary engine that makes companies more readable and better understandable. And thus we've also created an access for them to access growth capital by providing a path to lending. We believe in Widen that the understanding of the business risk is the cornerstone of the financial services. That's why we've developed Oscar, which is our, I would say, assessment engine that brings this clarity to digital SMEs and their financial partners. What do we focus on with Oscar? We take so many inputs from financial ratios, more than 80, and also compute flow metrics in order to get the companies, digital companies, lending assessment about their financial health, their performance monitoring, and also some audit. We are not just your ordinary risk assessment company. We are building self-reinforcing business platform. Now, this consists from 2 parts. One is the part that is focusing on predictive risk assessments, where we have the methodology to assess business creditworthiness. That's called Oscar. I already mentioned that. On the other part, we provide a growth capital. We've built this engine internally in the name of our company Threshold Capital, which Widen is now continuation of. And by developing this growth loan product, we basically tested this predictive risk assessment as well. It's important for the founders of the companies that there is no equity given up from them when it comes to lending from Widen. We put our money where our mouth is. We've already invested more than 1.3 million euros based on our own risk assessment, and we plan to invest another 4 million by the end of 2024. Some of our satisfied clients said that the actual investment process with Widen was the best and quickest among all of their investors they had, also with VCs and so on and so forth. Who is our target customer? Apart from the digital companies where we provide risk assessment and growth capital, We also provide them real-time performance monitoring. We also talking with banks and financial institutions where we believe we can actually improve the understanding of digital companies in those companies and help to enhance their current risk processes. We also talking with investors where we want to provide enhanced due diligence services so they can do their due diligence faster and cheaper, and also offer qualitative and quantitative portfolio monitoring services, so how they are actually performing and how the companies that already invested in are performing. And last but not least, service providers like audit companies, advisors, M&A companies, where we provide actually strategic financial guidance for the clients, thus making them working with digital companies more effective and cheaper. We see CE as the best product market fit for our company because the market actually provides still above average growth potential. And we believe and we see that actually the risk assessment of digital companies is very low in this area. We have already assessed more than 100 companies, as I mentioned, provided financing to 12 of them with 1.3 million capital. And we have a big pipeline of companies just ready to be financed with more than 10 million euros, up to 18 million euros in the cumulative value. We identified more than 30,000 potential clients of digital companies just in CEE region, and we've already enriched more than 1,000 companies with our additional data. We want to become the predictive risk platform in CEE that actually collects business credit scoring and enhance risk managing processes via risk assessment and lending, thus for growth capital. Our mission is becoming the credit analysis platform CEE, as I mentioned, and we are looking for 1.5 or until 2 million seed equity investment in exchange with pre-money valuation of 7.5 million euros with the exit outlook in 5 to 7 years. The team behind our company is actually a very experienced team. Martin, who has more than 10 years of experience with investment. I'm focusing on the product part of the platform, and we have other very, I would say, knowledgeable investors on our board already. So let's finish the financial gap for those digital companies, and let's understand digital companies better. Thank you very much. I'm Juraj Kralik, and let's growing today.
Great. Thanks, Juraj. So we are now inviting the investors for the feedback and Q&A session. Jordan, Maximilian, if you have a question, you can start.
Are you guys handling the KYC process as well?
Not yet. If you mean KYB as Know Your Business, basically not yet. We are planning to include, I would say, the KYC process as a next step. Actually, the KYC process of the founder as AKA background check it's in our product pipeline, so that once we have a background check on the founder, we have a more, I would say, better and enhanced risk view of how the company actually could and will perform in the future as well, as part of enhancement of the whole, I would say, risk assessment for the digital company.
And just one more quick question. Are you guys planning to expand to other verticals other than digital companies, and also like geographically? I assume that it would not only be like CE on the longer run, right?
Absolutely. We are already in talks with some of the banks in DACH region as well. And as far as the, I would say, product, scaling, we are already thinking about that for sure. But first, we want to really test the assessment properly with tens, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of assessments done on digital companies where we can actually, where we feel strong because we are already investing based on this data, and then we can actually move further because, and we also see that here is, I would say, the biggest financial gap, which what I actually mentioned, because those companies, digital companies that are maybe 2 or 3 years old, they are just growing, they are maybe sometimes already profitable, they are still quite misunderstood by the financial industry.
Okay, thanks.
On your business model, which part of the business model do you see scaling in the next years? So is it your own lending engine and yourself lending to these digital SMEs, or is it more this B2B, B2B2C approach with an approach selling to banks and other FIs that want to use your engine?
Yeah, actually, when it comes to scalability, the risk assessment part is obviously more scalable. The lending part, as is already profitable, but we see actually the assessment part as really scalable part for business, for digital SMEs, but also for the other customer segments that I mentioned. And I would say the the remuneration on the pricing is license-based. So that actually we can sell the license to use our platform for investors, for banks, so that they can enhance their risk assessments, their due diligence, and monitor their portfolio performance, as well as offer B2B2B or B2B2C offering for the digital companies that can pay per assessment for like to us, for them to get assessment, and then possibly also to get access to lending. But the lending part was basically for us mostly just to prove that the risk assessment works. Yes, the lending part is still there, and still like it's profitable and it's doing good. So we have no reason of getting rid of that. And this is also a way of attracting digital companies to actually get the assessment, so that we can actually provide also some growth capital to them.
Thanks.
And
last but not least, if we have... Okay, go ahead.
Please go.
Okay, just one question regarding, you mentioned that there is like a substantial pipeline that you have built over time. What is your strategy in sales, and how do you actually approach these potential customers?
Well, actually, those customers are digital companies that want to get financed and they don't want to give up equity. So I would say the typical VC style of financing is not really suitable for them. And also they will not, or they cannot be funded, or I would say they cannot get a loan from a bank, to put it blankly. And we can do that. And we in our pipe drive, we right now have around 50 companies that are ready to be financed. So in order like to grow it to scale, we would also need the money, as I mentioned, the investment for the marketing purposes, to also get, I would say, more enlightenment about actually debt financing for the companies, because some companies are just giving up equity where they actually don't need to, where they can actually be quite profitable and get growing more effectively with debt capital that actually they can repay in 2 years. And yeah, for some that it's also possible. But we also plan to, with the lending part, we also go to syndicates with some VCs, so we can like we really create a cross-dimensional way of cooperation with investment, with investors, and also possibly with banks as well.
And
it's very
short question.
Extremely short.
Are you raising for Within, or this is a raise for both Threshold and Within together?
Just to have this final message, Threshold Capital is now becoming Widen as a platform. So we are raising for the whole platform, but the money will be used only on the risk assessment product.
Thank you, Juraj. Thank you, the investors. Now we gotta move forward to be very sharp on time. And the next startup that will pitch will be Mion from Austria. Will be Andras from Hungary, bookkeeping, the name of the startup. So Andras, you'll have 5 minutes of pitching, and whenever you're ready, you can start.
Thank you so much. So hello, everybody. My name is Andrej, Vizsy, and I'm the CEO of Bookkeeping. And as the introduction stated, we started off as an accounting platform. We started with a monthly revenue, recurring revenue model from accountants that are also selling recurring service, that's making the returns pretty much self-explanatory. We even did our homework on the product validation and managed to identify USPs that were not only unique on the market, but indeed did matter to the clients on both sides of the marketplace. The problem was also there. We were seeing people are actually struggling to find the right accountant. It was pretty much similar to finding a good restaurant in the 90s. However, the market size was actually there, but unserved. So we have seen 1.5 million entrepreneurs in Hungary, solo entrepreneurs and limited companies, around 120,000 companies formed every year, and 16,000 companies with accounting as your primary activity on the market, making a staggering 7.5 billion euros in revenue in 2022. That is comparable to 5% of the GDP just in Hungary. So we said, okay, let's call this accountant search platform step one. Then we have learned as we went that 40 to 60% of our customers were newly registered companies, or better said, companies to be registered newly. Thus, we came up with a solution that helps exactly with this. For solo entrepreneurs, there were already an online application form that they could fill for themselves. The issue was like not too many people actually understood the questions, let alone the answers. So we provided some handholding and accountant service and accounting support for them to do this via a virtual consultation. For the limited companies, it was a bit trickier because you need a lawyer and an accountant in most of the countries, especially in Hungary. And we bootstrapped the first solution in Hungary for that enabled fully online, actually paperless asterisk, we only needed one piece of paper because you cannot go around that via legal obligations. But we made an end-to-end online, digital, and almost paperless solution using already existing tools. Cool, we can register companies, but then we still got some questions from almost 80% of the customers that they were not sure what kind of company and taxation form they should go for. So we added a company and taxation form consultation to the service mix and a really light touch self-service company and taxation form advisor. You can think about a questionnaire. So we figured how to provide whole products to two business cases or two personas, already operating SMEs who are not satisfied with their accountant and they want to find a better fitting one. And we can help new entrepreneurs with company registration, company formation, A to Z. This was good, but we had only one problem, that this subscription model was based only on subscriptions coming from accountants. That was not profitable enough. So we leveled up and came to the managed marketplace model that was way more profitable. We took ownership of the entire process. Entrepreneurs would contact us for the accounting work. We do lead generation, we do lead verification, pre-qualification, we do the contracting, even soft collection for the accountants in a highly automated and efficient manner. So the accountant can really focus on what they want to do best, is like just doing the accountant work, while we can be the face of accounting towards the accountants, towards the companies. So this was much better. And we had full control of contracting, a new stable recurring revenue source on the entrepreneur side, with a moderate markup of 12 to 14% on top of the accountant fee that is actually paid together with the accounting fee. So the enterprises do not really mind it. It's crystal clear for us to understand like what is the money value that we create for each and every accountant we have on the platform. So we can always make sure that our service is actually worth for them to have, and we can take over a bunch of burdens from both sides, accountant and entrepreneur likewise. Also, we have realized that while we went upstream as much as it was necessary to offer a whole product, we realized that we need, there are some specific needs of the customer segments that needs to be covered downstream. Also, it was really good news that banks generally realized that they were mostly focusing on retail and corporate, leaving SMEs seriously underserved. So we started to work together after some lengthy conversations with the market leaders, OTP Bank, who has like 40% market share, Samlaspont, who is like 65-ish% on the invoicing market. And after some work with them, we actually started a white label integration with MBH, which is the second largest bank in Hungary, and integrated Bukipi into Bupa, the beyond banking platform. So this is us. We have the product market fit, as we can see so far. We are profitable on the country level, excluding development costs, and we are integrated, and we know how to integrate in the already existing ecosystems. What we are working on is grow in size to reach group level break even. You guys are going to have the presentation, so you can take a look at our numbers.
One last repetition, Andras. We gotta be very sharp on time.
All right, let me wrap it up. We are launching internationally, just launched in Romania and working on 2 more countries. And we are working a bunch of additional value-added services to serve this customer base. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. I now invite the investors for perspectives and Q&A session for Andras. Okay, maybe Adam, maybe you would like to start?
Yeah, sure. You mentioned that you are already working with OTP, one of the largest Hungarian banks in the region as well. What were the current feedbacks after you implemented and integrated your solution? So what have you learned from that client perspective?
So we have worked with OTP until we started to work with MBH, because MBH actually wanted us to go on an exclusive basis. So we are not working with OTP anymore. But the feedback so far was they are really and truly looking out for beyond banking services. They truly need help with company registration. What MBH still needs to work on is to understand how to acquire customers via our solution, building out their own sales and marketing capabilities for beyond banking services, if this was an answer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
My question would be the following. According to my experience, this is kind of like a red ocean market with lots of competition. I myself receive, let's say, like a couple of similar startup pitches every other week. Do you guys have like any kind of like killer features or anything that really sets you apart from the competition?
I could talk about this for like 15 minutes. And when you say similar companies, that would help if you could name some. But if just for the sake of keeping the time,
I could send you a list of like 20 companies. Like I don't want to like. There
Okay,
are
cool.
like plenty. Might be that you differentiate, you know, like here and there, and that's my question. Like how do you differentiate?
So first of all, we are not an accounting company. We're like decentralized accounting company. So we're working with like close to 400 accountants countrywide. So we don't have any scalability issues. We can provide services and we can provide service providers in each and every industry that is there. And we're actually providing industry specific search results, which not too many companies do in the region, as much as I'm aware of competition. We also collect reviews. We also do have a proprietary matchmaking algorithm that helps the entrepreneurs to find the best accountant for their specific needs. We also provide, if it's necessary, customer service that actually can hold the hand of the entrepreneur if this is what they want to do. And we're actually contracting the entrepreneurs ourselves. So we're not just like outsourcing and matchmaking, but we're actually taking care of the contract.
Okay.
Other questions for Adam? Apologies, for Andras.
What are you looking for? I didn't understand it at the end. What do you need for the next step?
Oh, yeah. So what we're looking for is actually partners who can join our journey and help us grow in their respective countries or in the whole region, peers, VCs, or portfolio companies, because we have seen some of you invested into like a partner. We're already talking to Romania, Easy Sales. So that would be, I think, the first thing to do. And this is why we got in touch with UNCHAIN, because we wanted to participate on their festival. But even for VCs, we have like two options between like one of them being like 150K to focus on product development and 1.5 mil, which actually would allow us to go into 5 to 8 different markets, not in the current joint venture / franchise model, but actually to have subsidiaries there and dominate those markets.
Okay, one last very short question. Okay, if there's no other questions, thank you, Andras, thanks the investors for the value they have provided. And now we're going to invite Daniel from Mion from Austria. Daniel Tesch.
Hello, everybody. Is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see the screen. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Perfect. I keep it short. So I'm the co-founder of Mion, and essentially this is what's going on. Currently, roughly 130 billion euros are locked in Bitcoin in Europe with no real option to use them. You can buy and you can sell your Bitcoin, but you cannot really use them. And consumers really want to use their Bitcoin, at least the majority would like to do so. And merchants would also greatly benefit from this. And merchants seem to be aware of this. Roughly 85% of them prioritize crypto payments on the roadmap, yet they're not doing them. Why is that? Because of the regulatory risk, the integration risk, the volatility, and obviously the accounting implications. So essentially, I want the Bitcoin benefits, but not really the Bitcoin. Also, we have a shifting regulatory landscape in Europe right now. There are 27 different national investor registrations. They will all be unified under one European MiCA framework in 2025. That means under one framework, you are able to serve the entire European Union without any issues. But with the MiCA framework, we also introduce substantial new AML, transaction reporting, risk management requirements, etc., etc. So the bar is raised a lot. And currently, most CASP entities are registered in the Czech Republic, which has very minimal AML requirements. So a lot of them have to adapt a lot or they will fail to obtain a MiCA license. So the race for Europe has essentially begun, and we are focusing on maximum convenience by leveraging what we have already built. So we are focusing on our fully developed Bitcoin payment and rule engine. We are entirely focusing on big corporations, which are an underserved market by existing payment providers. And we offer the world's most advanced Bitcoin Lightning node payment gateway with regulatory compliance at our core. We are later expanding into our universal customer accounts. So essentially companies gain free access to our user base, which allows them to greatly reduce customer acquisition and management costs. And this gives us seamless integration and expansion of our underlying payment solution across all markets. And we do all of this at an unbeatable price. So we take 1% and 20 euro cents per transaction. And our payment solution integrates like a standard payment solution. It is fully compliant and authorized throughout Europe. And within 48 hours, payouts are done in euro or any other native currency. We also don't have any volatility. So we have instant Bitcoin to euro conversions every single time. This means that the average merchant could save up to 80% by implementing our payment solution compared to traditional payment methods. And we have solved a lot of hard problems in the last years. Essentially, we have built the best Lightning node management tool in the world over 3 years. And we have built an extremely flexible and powerful compliance engine, which is ready to go. I already touched briefly on the universal customer accounts, but just to elaborate a little on this, basically Myon handles everything related to the customer. We own the customer. We handle the login, the access control, the connected payments, free KYC, compliance, Bitcoin on and off ramp. The idea behind this is that this allows us to expand our payment method organically throughout the internet, and consumers have maximum convenience. They don't need to sign on with 10 different services. They have one account that they can use throughout the internet with one KYC process. This is the team behind it. Time is really short, so I just give you a few highlights. Andrej, my co-founder, is essentially a former CTO of K33 and led them through an 800 million IPO in the Nordics. Cope has 16 years of experience in international remittance industry and knows how to build really reliable systems. Björn Weser is a former CEO of Twint AG, which is the largest payment provider in Switzerland, and he's also the former CEO of Samsung Pay in Germany. And Chris Payne is also a key person. He's essentially our chief legal officer. He has 13 years of experience in the traditional finance, decentralized finance sector, and he's probably right now the best crypto lawyer in Europe, and he's helping us to build all of this. So just for the Bitcoin payment processing alone, we are looking at very healthy revenue streams over the next 4 years. If we combine that with our universal user accounts, which we don't plan to monetize, but essentially the universal user accounts combine a lot of individual markets that are already quite large, and combined we have a massive market of 440 billion. Yeah, that's the shortest pitch I've probably ever done. So I hope I saved some time here.
Yeah, you were in time, Daniel. Thank you. Thank you. Now we are inviting the investors for the perspectives and the Q&A session. Maximilian, if you want to start.
Thank you. Very interesting. For the payment wallet, I guess you will have to register at a national financial market authority. Would it be the Austrian FMA or different country?
We are currently having one VESP registration in one European jurisdiction, and we are in the process of obtaining another VESP registration in Austria. So we have really advanced in the process in the last steps. We're expecting it to receive it in the next month.
Okay, understood. And then second question, the payments would be done through a card nevertheless, or
no?
Which scheme would you use?
So the payments are purely Bitcoin payments. So essentially, people who own Bitcoins.
Then how do you integrate into the merchant system? Sorry for cutting off.
No worries. We build a payment gateway that essentially can be implemented either through their PSP or directly on the website. And if implemented, they're redirected to our page, similar to PayPal, where they are registered through us and they pay with their own wallet, or they can create a wallet with us, up to them. And once we receive the funds, which is instantly Lightning payments, we confirm the payment to the merchant.
Okay, so that's always virtual POS, always e-commerce payments. It's never POS payments.
So the focus is initially on virtual payments, but we have a solution built for POS shops that can be displayed on any LCD screen, because the normal cash registers today, they are not like the old ones used to be. So you can display QR codes, for instance, and consumer can just scan this QR code, which is Bitcoin wallet, and pay directly. And there are actually way less AML and KYC requirements if you do it in a stationary shop than you do it online.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Other questions for Daniel?
Could you elaborate a bit on what markets are you planning to actually present your solution, or are already within?
So we are focusing initially on the European market, primarily on the German-speaking area, since we have a really good network here. Through Björn, who's really well connected. We're talking to large corporations throughout the industry and try to close some deals at the moment. So primarily Central European market is our focus at the moment, but we would like to expand into the entire European area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions for Daniel? Until others think, I would have one. You mentioned, Daniel, the ARR of 4 million in the future. What's the current ARR in the present?
Right now we are not live. So we just obtained the VEST license in one European jurisdiction, and we are going to go live once we captured the Austrian VEST license.
Okay, and
we have
2024, what's the estimate for this year?
Gotta go back to the slide. It's not very large because we're just focusing on Austria. It's 700,000 euros roughly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jordan, Andrej, if you have a perspective.
What do you need to do for your customers in terms of KYC or KYB during the payment or before the payment?
And that's a good question. So essentially consumers, so we built a very complicated compliance engine that does a lot of different things on the background, and this allows us to process payments without KYC for up to 1,000 euros. So every payment that is below that threshold can be without KYC. If you exceed that limit, we do KYC, and we have a really good provider in the background that gives us a really seamless, quick process, and is actually quite cheap for us, which is why we are able to offer the universal customer accounts with included KYC.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for the pitch. Thank you, the investors, for the questions. Now we're going to move forward with the last startup that's going to pitch, and we have Clever Claim. And we'll have Ignacy and Dennis from...
Hello. Hi, guys. Oh, yeah, you
the
can
founders
see
of
hear me.
Clever
That's
Claim.
Great.
So whenever you're ready, you can start presenting the pitch.
All right. Guys, can you see my screen?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah. All right, I can see. All right, fintech is a very wide field, right? So we're gonna tackle, I think, a bit different aspect. So I think we're ready to start, and let's begin with very usual. Imagine this situation. So you're at the airport, excited to board your flight. Suddenly, the announcement starts, right? Delay after delay. Hours pass, your patience runs out, and you begin to wonder if you will ever take off. Time and money are both valuable, but one is irreplaceable. The European Union and other countries mandates compensation for flights delayed by 3 hours or flight cancellations, ranging from 250 to 600 euros, depending on the distance of your flight. However, only 15% of eligible passengers receive their compensation. Despite the presence of claim management companies like AirHelp, there's still significant gap in the market. And we know that because we've been there and tested that. Out of 26 million people eligible passengers each year, 85% miss out. Why? That is the question. After digging deeper, we discovered that the primary reason passengers don't claim the refunds are both lack of awareness and the hassle associated with the filling out of the documentations. Many passengers are unaware of their rights, and those who know about compensations often find the process too time-consuming, and it's frustrating, especially after very long delays.
So here comes Claroclaim, the answer to those problems, with the first proactive client-facing solution. Our white label system integrates with the bank or other financial institution, enabling them to offer our travel claim service directly within their apps, making the process easier and faster. So how does it work? Claroclaim identifies the flight transaction using the basket data from the bank or financial institution and monitors the journey. In the event of a delay or cancellation, we send an automatic notification about claim qualification. Client just simply opt in and we handle all the rest using the passenger's data from the bank and processing the claim. It's easy, seamless, and stress-free. So our solution steps in precisely at the right moment and time. Client buys their tickets, we identify the transaction and monitor the flight. If a disruption occurs, we notify the bank with who informs the client, and then we manage the claim. The final and most rewarding step is receiving the refund. So our business model is B2B2C, where we charge a success fee only on received compensation, and then share it with our partner or bank. In our experience, an average claim is about 320 euros, and our commission is around 75 euros. So the market size is massive. As Dennis said, there's 26 million eligible flight passengers each year only in the European Union, and it transfers into 8 billion euros total addressable market. And with trains, it's 5 billion annually. And now the market penetration is just scratching the surface with 15%.
So what do we offer? We offer a powerful solution to existing problems. Our service not only helps passengers, but also provides valuable tool for banks and card issuers. Unlike unused discount codes, our proactive solution assists clients precisely when and how they need it. We enhance customer satisfaction, increase NPS score, and help bank monetize travel data through success fee on every claim, thereby boosting revenue per client. So what did we do so far? We helped thousands of clients on a B2C market that allowed us to gain experience and knowledge about claim management. And we are in talks with 5 major banks here in Poland about integration and card issuers as well. We hope to see the fruits of this conversation within 6 months. And our next big step is, of course, scaling the solution to other European markets and countries.
So we have a great team besides myself and Dennis. We have our CTO, Karol, who gained experience in Accenture and also was responsible for building the app for biggest Polish bank, PKO BP. And Mariusz, the business development specialist, who was vice president of global strategy at Barclays and also responsible for Rise Barclays by FinTech.
One last proposition, guys. Great. Claim the market with us.
Exactly. So join us in revolutionizing the claim management experience.
Okay, thank you for the pitch. I now invite the investors. I also remind them to don't forget to vote the teams that have pitched. Also, please, questions.
Thank you for the presentation. I have seen that in the future you are planning to offer VAT refunds as well, which I know well that it can be a pain in the ass and it's quite a long manual process at airports. So how would you propose that deal and what would be the process in that regard?
VAT refunds?
Yes, it was mentioned on the slide.
It's a huge market. It's the biggest market on relation European Union. Outside of European Union, there's even this company based in the UK that does it. And they do it, of course, via partnerships with payment processors and card issuers like Visa and MasterCard. And for many reasons, mainly because MasterCard and Visa have level 3 data, so the basket data, which is important to have this very whole-rounded and beneficial for everyone cooperation. So I think the crucial step is, of course, establishing solid partnerships with data providers. And then that's our actually strategy. We just don't put it into the deck so it doesn't confuse people, Once we are in the bank operating with this specific financial institution, it's easier to provide one step further and offer one more solution, right? Travel claiming and claim management process is much less demanding from the bank at the first step to enter, and it's a very solid foundation to build on top of that.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions?
You mentioned you processed 1,000 B2C customers before. So what was the revenue, accumulative revenue you reached? And when did you launch the B2C service?
So we raised our first financing round in late 2022, beginning of 2023. Started operating with flights, actually, because we started with trains in mid 2023, and we had around 60,000 euros last year. And we since stopped operating on a B2C market since we wanted to focus mainly and solely on B2B sales. And cultivating the relationships with large clients, basically, and that is the actual problem we answer, right? Because we saw that there is a huge inefficiency on a B2C market, and it's impossible to penetrate some of the aspects, right? Like people not knowing or people just not caring enough to fill out the form, right? You have the amazing form, great user experience, etc. But as soon as you have to provide a bank account number, the funnel of the form becomes drastic, right? A 50% client drop on every single step. So if you're not like AirHelp or SkyCup, it's you're just burning through money on marketing, basically. So it's not the real disruption on the market.
Are there any regulatory burdens that would prevent you from scaling globally?
You mean regulations about flights overall? Or on the other hand, like data security?
Data security or anything like that?
On data security, we are all clear. We are compliant with GDPR, and also as we talk with banks or other financial institutions, every time we are clear in terms of legal departments.
So just answer very, very simply, the processing part, we did the system in a way that processing part stays with the partner, in a sense that data stays with the partner and it doesn't leave his systems, right? Because in case of Visa, for example, they cannot, or MasterCard, they cannot let the data out to some external party. So we needed to figure out how can we manage the process within clients, basically database.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, we gotta be very sharp on time, and we appreciate your pitch and investors' perspectives. So moving on, we're gonna have now the fireside chat with the investors, and where I will put some questions to the investors to see their perspectives. Mainly, as mentioned before at the beginning, these demo days are a tour that we're planning before the big event in June, the 19th of 20 in June, for a better engagement in the startup fintech ecosystem, where investors, startups connect, because the startups are for different countries, the investors the same. Just want to remind the investors to don't forget to vote, and also the viewers that are viewing us. From Poland, the last startup was pitching from Poland. We'll have a dedicated charter, so everyone, startup investor or people that are from Poland, if they would like to join, contact the team and mitigate this aspect with the plane. So we're gonna start the fireside chat, and first perspective that I'm curious from your side if due to the fact there are multiple countries here, you guys are from different countries, the startups the same. I'm curious if you can share some successful exits, or some kind of significant growth of your portfolio. Was a successful exit from a startup that it's a different country, or a local one from the country that you have the VC? If anyone can share that kind of aspect or encountered this situation.
Okay, then I will start. Like we actually had two quite successful startups that became like half unicorns. One is Bitrise, which is a continuous integration platform for mobile developers. That startup received like over $100 million of investments, like several investment stages, and we followed through. We're still one of the largest investors in the cap table, and are really enthusiastic about this portfolio company of ours. There's another one which we have completely exited. That is Sion, which is a fraud detection solution for e-commerce sites and gambling sites. Also very successful. Received several rounds of funding from the US. Also received more than $100 million in funding, and like we also managed to follow through and eventually exited. Realized quite a good return on it.
Yeah, interesting what you're saying, Jordan. I'm curious. Would you say the the differences on startups that are in different countries in the CE? Would you think there would be some differences that maybe could be highlighted? And also to everyone in this room, maybe a difference from startups that are in Hungary and, let's say, Austria. Would you say that are major differences in approaching the market, maybe, and also cultural ones?
Well, like we were quite active in the Baltic region. General impression is that founders are a bit more prepared in that region. Of course, there are several local unicorn success stories that broke out and that provide a good role model for local entrepreneurs, and that's really helped the local ecosystem. And these success stories are a bit lacking, in my opinion, from the very central European area. In the southern region, recently there were a few similar breakouts, like UiPath from Romania or Payhawk from Bulgaria, which stories can elevate the local ecosystem, and I'm already starting to experience the positive effect of this. So more and more interesting startups are emerging at the early stage from the southern hemisphere of the CE. Also, Yugoslavia is quite active these days. I mean, like ex-Yugoslavia, meaning Serbia, Macedonia, whatever. Like all these ex-Yugoslav countries are quite interesting. So there's still a lot to do in terms of like ecosystem development, but things are picking up.
For sure, there's a lot to do in the development. I want to somehow pivot the discussion also on the government incentives. I'm curious, maybe Andrej, Maximilian, Adam, if you can share a perspective on this. Do you think it's an opportunity for startups, this kind of incentives for the government, or not necessarily just for the government, even from the EU?
I believe in case of really early stage, like pre-seed, seed stage companies, it's a must-have to have like some kind of public funding, because especially in Hungary, investors don't really have that risk appetite to invest very early stage. Of course, the sooner you invest, the more risk that you take. In our case, for instance, OXO Holdings is primarily investing private money. But in case of this pre-seed, very early stage, we also use public funds, Hungarian state aid funds, which is called the Startup Factory program. So we are using 80% in those regards and those investments to actually fund the very early stage and this development phase. And since our investment strategy is to do follow-on investments and throughout the life cycle of the company, be able to invest later on as well, we can hedge the risk at the beginning, and if the company is good and can really expand to Hungary and the region as well, then we can provide follow-on investments as well.
Okay. Nice to hear about this aspect of also follow-up investment. I'm curious, Maximilian, what do you think about the government incentives and EU incentives for startups?
To be honest, I think that in particular the European Investment Fund has done very, very profound and good work in nurturing local seed ecosystems and seed funds in the named countries, and this is very important for the ecosystems to have these local funds available that can do these first 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 euro tickets, and produce a steady flow of new ideas of innovative companies, and also allow local founders to try out their ideas on the local market. And then probably what is missing are growth investors to a certain extent. There's still not enough capital that can write checks sizable enough for a Series A, B round that would be like 5, 10, maybe 20 million in size in our region. And I think this is for us actually one of the motivation why we set up Elevator Ventures, because we want to actually provide exactly this growth capital to a region where we think it's desperately needed on the one hand, and where it actually can perform superior returns.
Desperately needed. Yeah, nice, well put. What's the Zaka VC perspective on this part, Andrej? Is there an opinion on?
And we also operate completely with private money. I think that first and foremost, what the state should do is to create a predictable market for all businesses and participants, fair taxation, fair terms of employee stock option plans, really to give out equity also to first employees and so on. Being in the investment directly, we have seen also some cases where basically companies which were not really startups were invested, and it also deforms somehow the market. But I think that the pluses are overweighting the minuses overall. And in terms of maybe the geography and CE, what we do, we are looking into founders who can be based here, can be also based in US or in UK, but they are thinking from day one about tier one markets, building products for the tier one markets, maybe of course testing out it locally in their home markets because they have some relationships there, but we are not investing into pure like local plays, imitating some successful stories from abroad here locally to somehow aggregate the market and sell it then to the tier one player from US or from UK. And I see that the market has also evolved. Founders from CEE are, the startup ecosystem is pretty active for at least a decade now. So we see, I would say, second or third time founders going back to the market, and they are not thinking the same way as in the beginning. They are thinking a bit bigger, more ambitious from day one. And I think that's what we all are also expecting from them. So it's moving on in good direction.
For sure, we are expecting, for a founder to think more at the growth stage when from day one. For sure, I have another maybe 5 questions for you guys, but unfortunately we are very constrained on time. We gotta be sharp so that we respect everyone's time, and we gotta move forward and announce the winner of the demo day. Just to remind everyone that everyone that have participated in the demo day will receive tickets for the UNCHAIN Fintech Festival that will happen in 19-20 of June. But just one startup will be fast-tracked directly into the startup tournament. I can hear some clapping on the keyboard. If you can put yourself on mute, it will be great. Okay, so I shall announce now the winner, and let's sit 5 seconds in suspense. And the winner is Widen Startup. We congratulate Widen for their success. If you, Juraj, can have 1 minute of words, would be great.
Honestly, prepare thanks speech. It was sure, but for the trust investors and also big team companies, I'm really happy more talk investors as our potential clients as well. About possible investment talk with digital companies that in case they want to grow. I'm really happy to see all in June and happy to have network and get growing together.
Okay. Thank you, Juraj. Just as information, on the second spot was Digfin, and yes, we congratulate Digfin as well to be on the second spot. We congratulate everyone for joining, all the startups that have pitched, all the investors that have provided the insightfulness with the questions. And yes, don't forget that we have a dedicated plane from Krakow to Oradea. If the viewers from Poland would like to join. Okay, appreciate your time. Thank you everyone for joining. And yes, let's meet on live on UNCHAIN on the 19th of 20th of June.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.